In this video, Ilhan Omar says some dumb stuff about Israel. Let's be clear. The goal of our trip was to witness firsthand what is happening on the ground in Palestine and hear from stakeholders. Our job as members of Congress. Palestine, it's called Israel. You were refused entry to Israel. And for the record, your job as a member of Congress is to represent the 5th District of Minnesota, not to obsessively attack the world's only Jewish state. Then, the delegation was going to receive a briefing on the Bedouin community in East Jerusalem. For decades, Bedouin homes have been bulldozed and communities have been uprooted in order to build settlements on Palestinian land. Over 200,000 Bedouin live in Israel. The overwhelming majority of them live in the Negev. And guess what? The Israeli government isn't bulldozing their homes. Instead, they're investing huge sums of money building housing and infrastructure for them. You'd think it's these Bedouin that she'd visit in cities like Rahat, but instead, she planned to visit Khan al-Ahmar, a tiny makeshift Bedouin village that was built illegally. And as it was built illegally, the Israeli government planned to relocate these 32 families 5 miles away and provide each of them with a package worth £100,000. Of all the world's problems, she planned to travel 7,000 miles for this? We then planned to visit Hebron, once a bustling economic hub. Settlement expansion has resulted in a two-tiered city, with Palestinians under military occupation forced to walk on the opposite side of the street from Israelis. Israeli Jews can visit 3% of Hebron. They're banned from the remaining 97%. Let that sink in. She talks of settlement expansion, but this 3% is a tiny enclave where the Jews have always lived. It would seem that Jews in 3% of Hebron is too much for Ilhan. She'd rather the whole place was Judenfrei. On top of that, Hebron wasn't once an economic hub. It still is, and it accounts for 30% of the West Bank's GDP. 77% of shops have closed down because of military occupation. Hebron has more shops than it's ever had. In fact, it has more shops than any other Palestinian city in the West Bank. And it's the West Bank's largest city. We plan to visit the separation wall around historic Bethlehem. Only 13% of Bethlehem is now accessible to Palestinian use. Wow! Let's actually have a look at Bethlehem then. This part is the bit that's accessible and controlled by Palestinians. It's pretty large. And this tiny little minuscule section is the bit that's controlled by Israel. And she wants you to believe that the Palestinians only have access to 13%? She's either breathtakingly ignorant or a pathological liar. You decide. I'm Joseph for the Israel Advocacy Movement. Make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Israel_advocacy, and on Instagram. It really, really helps us. Thanks for watching.